Well, it is 5:05 a.m. here, and what am I doing so early in the morning? Hello and good morning, everyone. Um, Welcome to another episode of Clearly Ambiguous. The reason I'm up so early in the morning is because of the coveted Trump-Putin summit that was happening in Anchorage, Alaska. And it has ended, and both the presidents actually ended up giving, instead of a press conference, basically like a press statement. And well, a couple of takeaways from that were the first and foremost the body languages of both the president. President Putin, no matter where he is always pretty confident the way he conducts himself. But President Trump, on the other hand, looked pretty sheepish today, and at the same point of time, looked that he has probably aged almost about 20 years. The boisterousness and flamboyance in his voice that he usually has was toned down to quite a bit. And no theatrics, no Trump theatrics that you usually see, which he had done with Zelensky in Oval Office, with the president of South Africa. And that is what a lot of people have been saying for a long time, that, Trump can do all this with those nation states and those leaders where he probably has a leverage, and where he has limited leverage, he probably acts very sheepish. Let it be the way he interacts with the Chinese premier, or even with Prime Minister Modi. He had mentioned that he's a tough negotiator, and I think it was another eye opener for President Trump, because he's this term as president, he's been dealing with a lot of people who hail thy emperor, so to speak. Look at what Tim Cook did. Tim Cook very smartly gave him a piece of gold with a piece of glass, and that's it. And he got away with making his mobile phones in India. There is no talk from Trump telling Tim Cook to stop manufacturing iPhones in India anymore. At the same point of time, if you look at what President Putin said, his statement was very measured. He basically overlooked the entire mention of Ukraine. He mentioned the ties that America and US have, and he mentioned the history between them. Historically, they are very close neighbors, although they are on the either side of the international date line, so to speak. And also, there was a mention that the trade that United States has with Russia is up by almost about 20%. Now, if you go by that, and if America is trading, because apparently, see, President Trump, whenever he's asked that question, that what about your trade with Russia? Isn't that sponsoring a war in Ukraine? He basically does not know. See, a president who knows everything about every other country does not seem to know much of what is going on in his own country. The trade that he keeps talking about, he does not know how much he is doing with Russia. And Russia says it is up by about 20%. So isn't now America basically sponsoring the war against Ukraine, right? Because the size of their trade is way bigger than the amount of oil Indians buy from Russia. Anyways, let's come back to the takeaways from this. Is there a deal reached? I think President Putin has turned President Trump into basically a phone boy who's just going to call NATO and Zelensky now. And I think President Putin has probably made his position absolutely clear, and now it's going to be the Americans who are going to be doing the negotiations on behalf of the Russians. Interesting, isn't it? What will this probably achieve? I think what this will achieve is a lot of chest thumping from Zelensky again, slightly softening stance from NATO, and on ground what might happen is that Zelensky might soften and succumb to a deal, whereas NATO might find other avenues to take down Russia, as they will never change their policy, right? They will always believe the fact that they have to somehow make the Russian Federation lose somehow. I don't know. They have that fascination. I think they were probably supposed to have a joint lunch, which has been called off as well. And President Trump is now definitely go to one of the networks and do his theatrics there, because obviously he was not able to do it in the press conference. Our takeaways from this are that, if you stand strong against Trump, he will respond to you. And it seems like he has been called out now. He's been called out 3 times. He's been called out by China, where China has basically ended up saying that you cannot basically leverage trade and tariff to conduct your relations, right, with foreign affairs with somebody. Indians have not softened their stance on buying Russian crude oil, and Russians have not committed to basically nothing. So I think it was a surprise and a shock for President Trump, because he's these days used to getting people on there, and where they can. And probably, I think the one thing that was very disappointing for President Trump was that he was not able to get President Putin to say that, Trump for Nobel Peace Prize. So, yeah. So, anyways, so eventually it comes to a close, and it was pretty underwhelming, because I was actually hoping that Trump would probably try his, childish television stunts with President Putin as well. But I think he was smart enough not to do so. So at least some semblance of sanity still prevails. Also, the talk of tariffs. See, what about these tariffs that he was going to impose on Russia? And what he ended up saying, if the talks don't go well, let's wait and watch what Trump has to say, because I think you have to give him a couple of hours. He gets verbal diarrhea the moment he goes on Air Force One. So let's wait for him to get in the air, and he'll have some statements flying left, right, and center. But then again, yes, bullies only understand strength, and that is exactly what the Chinese, the Russians, and the Indians have shown President Trump. So that's my take. As things pan out, let's get back and let's discuss this again. Do let me know your thoughts on the entire summit, or whether it's success, whether it spells any end to the Russia-Ukraine conflict, and do we still believe in Trump achieving all this peace that he keeps talking about, and what should everybody and anybody do with the double speak and boisterousness that Trump has. So anyways, that's it for now. I think I should probably catch a few wings. And thanks for watching. Keep watching. Until next time, you take care of yourself. Bye for now.